So it's pretty much a given that we should all be expecting to see some monetary tightening from the banks, from credit card companies, from businesses, from credit card processors, as the economy continues to try to recover and we struggle through this inflationary battle. And what previously was being done by businesses and corporations and credit card companies and banks and credit card processors was some perks and freebies, so to speak, to get people more excited and more and entice them to shop and spend money and swipe cards and just basically rack up the transactions because the credit card processors and the debit card processors, like I think it was the merchants basically. It's e-authorize or authorize.net was one. And I want to say it's Gateway. Oh man, Dan Price's company. I think it was Gateway credit card processing. But either way, there's credit card processors out there. And what happens is for the debit card transactions and for, anything that you punch in a PIN number for, those are incurred a fee by the merchant for the business swiping the card for the transaction. And then if you did a credit card, the fee was higher. And also, depending on the speed of which the transaction would be processed and either approved or declined, would also increase the fees, which I learned through a buddy of mine who was in credit card processing, and he actually had the account for it was for the PGA Masters tournament, and he says when every year in Augusta, Georgia, that he would have the account, and he would. They would process credit card transactions in a blink of an eye, and they would charge a tremendous fee for this because ultimately what it boiled down to was they had a finite amount of time to process as many transactions as possible and get as much money out of people as possible over the course of the Masters tournament. Well, PFS NYT, she actually put a video up today and she was sharing her recent experience of shopping at Dollar Tree. And she said that actually she went to check out and swiped her card and was asked if she wanted cash back, which is pretty much like a normal occurrence. You go to a grocery store, you buy your groceries and you swipe your card. If it's a debit card, check card, they ask you if you want cash back. And I think it was like maxed out at $50 or something. And this was just pretty normal. And it was a little convenient because it would save you a trip to the ATM. You can get cash. And it was a great thing, too, because it encouraged people to carry more cash. And part of what she's experiencing is a little bit of the economic tightening and changes that we're seeing with the banks, but also a little bit of a discouraging roadblock or obstacle to keep people from having more cash. So she said that it offered to ask if she wanted cash back. And if she did, there was a fee. So ultimately, I can't say that the banks are charging you a fee to take your money out. This would be part of the credit card processor or perhaps maybe the business, which I hope is not the business because then they're just pocketing a dollar, but they could consider it like a service fee. They could consider it a surcharge for the extra labor required for the employee to make change and give it to you. So with that being said, though, the banks are actually charging you for your own money. If you want your money, the banks are charging you for it. Now, hear me out. And credit card companies too. So basically, the banks are now increasing their fees, okay? And some services that may have previously been free of charge are now going to cost you. And if anyone has been to a bank in probably the last 12 to 24 months and has requested a cashier's check, you can attest to this. All right, so cashier's checks and wire transfers. If you've gone to the bank for a cashier's check or a wire transfer, and even a card replacement, that too. So cashier's checks are now like, I think they're like $25 for a cashier's check when they used to be $5. And the wire transfers, I think, are $25 also, when I think they used to be about $10. And in some instances, a replacement card, there's a fee for that too, depending on the bank, depending on the circumstances. So on top of that, some accounts have been changed as far as what the minimum average daily balance requirement is for the account to be no monthly maintenance fee. And if there is a monthly maintenance fee, that monthly maintenance fee that used to be $5.99 is probably now $20.99. So what they're doing is, and I've seen this with Bank of America, I've seen it with Wells Fargo, I've seen it with PNC, I've seen it with a few other banks, but I haven't seen it with the neobanks. They're like 100% online banks without the physical brick and mortar stores or branches. But I even seen it with Renaissance Bank. And basically what it is they want you to carry a average daily minimum balance. And the reason for that is because if you do, then they have more of your money in their possession that they can then lend out and disperse through this fractional reserve banking system that we've been talking about. But with that being said, if you the minimums used to be like 100, 500, $1,000 a month average. So that means like if it was $1,000 a month, that means on the first you could have $500, and on the 30th you could have $1,500, and then they would kind of average it out and say your average minimum daily balance was $1,000. Not really exactly how it works because they'll calculate every single day, but you kind of get the idea. Well, now they've changed this to $5,000, $15,000, $25,000. And this can be combined between multiple accounts, checking and savings and money market accounts and things like that, CDs. They do let you combine them, is what I've seen from a lot of these banks. But at the end of the day, what used to be free checking, you remember that was a big advertisement for a while, free checking. What used to be free, what used to be a lower minimum daily balance average, is now being increased and is no longer free, and they're charging you for it. And what they're charging you for is going up. Ultimately, boiling down to, they're charging you to keep your money, plain and simple. Not charging you interest on a loan or a credit card or anything like that. They're just charging you to hold your money. And they're charging you to hold your money in a way that when you need it, they don't even want to let you have it. See, like, this is what's going on. But ultimately, there's a monetary crunch, and the banks are positioning themselves to maintain as much leverage as possible over you and over the economy in general, as they are pushed by more powerful people that run the banking system. Just leave it at that. So then you got the credit cards. So then the credit cards are charging you for, the fees are going up for balance transfers. Now, granted, if you get a credit card and it's got an introductory balance transfer option or promo, that's a different story. But the fees for replacement credit cards, the fees for balance transfers on credit cards, the fees for cash advance, which honestly you should never do because they're expensive. There's a fee for the cash advance and then the interest rate on the cash advance, and it's just a terrible thing to do, and I would never do it. So, but they're all going up. They're increasing what they're charging. And this is just a warning sign, basically. It's a flare, It's a warning shot. Pay attention. You hear that shotgun chamber, that shell. You may want to back up off the porch. So basically, the banks are going to be implementing more ways of charging customers for what used to be basic, normal, free services, somewhat complimentary, that people need on a regular basis. And it's going to put people in a position of having to choose of who they're going to bank with, what services they're going to use of these banks, how much cash they're going to try to take out of the banks and keep on hand, and maybe possibly pushing them more to credit, which is not a bad thing. I like using credit cards. You get points, you get added protection, you get more time to pay for the purchase if you need. But we got to be paying attention, folks. We got to be listening and keeping our eye on the ball, the warning signs that are going on around us. And, there's still the situations of the banks potentially marking and labeling accounts high risk and flagging these accounts and potentially pushing folks out of the bank that they don't want. So pay attention, folks. Just want you guys to be aware of what's going on, and more than likely what's going to become more concerning as the days go by, especially for the rest of the year. I think, but by the time 2022 comes to an end and we're counting down, waiting for the ball to drop for 2023 to start, we're going to look like it's going to be a hard line, and 2023 is going to be like an eye opener for some people. And for some businesses, it's going to be the start of their new fiscal year, whereas others they don't run their fiscal calendar congruent in alignment with the regular calendar. So we may see some businesses putting some plans in motion now so that come 2023, they're going to hit some folks with some new rules and some new changes and some new developments, some new policies that may not necessarily align with you and your family and what you've been doing for so long. So perhaps maybe a good time to entertain some alternatives and backup plans and other solutions to these problems that are going to be occurring, because a bank charging you more money to hold your money, to basically hold your money hostage and borrow it and lend it out, and then giving you a hard time when you need it back, is a problem. And we've all heard the stories. Probably some of us have actually experienced it. You can't walk into a bank and without an appointment and request a cash withdrawal of any amount over $5,000. Probably highly unlikely. And then for those of you who use smaller banks, they might even be less than $5,000 because it's a smaller bank, it's a smaller branch. They don't have it, and they're not used to that type of transaction volume. So most of what's going on today is digital. There's still some checks being processed here and there, but for the most part, a lot of these transactions are being done digitally. They're just ones and zeros, and the money's not actually there. So you guys pay attention. Let me know, comment below if you've run across a situation where you were trying to get cash back and were being charged a fee. And, honestly, it's crazy to think, but perhaps, just $1, it's like that $1. It's like that movie Office Space, which I mentioned Office Space in another video the other day. It's just a penny, it's just a penny, just rounded up, added up on each transaction. It's just a penny. Nobody will ever notice it. And then it ends up being a lot of damn money. So you look at it as like, wow, it's only $1 that they're charging people for cash back. But at the end of the day, this could put a massive amount of additional profit, pure profit, on a company's balance sheet at the expense of the consumer that, it was once a perk. If you had a bank card or ATM card or debit card, if you didn't use it at your bank and use it at someone else's bank's ATM or some third-party ATM, which that's actually a little side hustle that people run, is these third-party ATMs, and they just charge fees. They put cash in it. They'll have a communication between a bank and the terminal, and it was a little side hustle. They get businesses to agree to allow them to put it there, pay them a little bit for it, and then they would make money on the fees. So where you would see your bank would charge you a fee for using an ATM not within their network, and then that ATM would charge you a fee. So you'd see two fees to get your own money out. So using the cash back on a grocery store like Publix or Kroger, Aldi, whatever it is, Costco, maybe Costco does it too, Sam's Club, Whole Foods, Sprouts, it doesn't matter. I think Target too, Walmart, anywhere, it was cool because if your bank was not on the way or out of the way or inconvenient. This just was an added convenience. It's like, wait, I'm going to shop here. Why? Because I need these items, but also I need to get some cash. So I get to kill two birds with one stone by doing this shopping here. And then I'll get cash back at checkout and just makes everything easier. Well, if they start charging you for cash back, would you still do it? Would you pay the fee for the convenience, or would you say, nah, screw this, I'm going to go back and use my bank? Which is part of why I use Bank of America, is because early on in my younger days, I'm about to knock this thing out of my hand. When I was younger, getting cash was, like a normal occurrence. You get paid on Friday, you want to go get some cash, direct deposit. So you want to get some cash out for the weekend. And having Bank of America, which actually at the time was Nations Bank, that's how long I've been using them. They were everywhere. And I didn't get charged a fee to get my own money out of the ATM, which was ridiculous. Like I remember at a time, I had an account at the time. It was like with Washington Mutual, WAMU, and they just disappeared. And I think I had a Wells Fargo too. And I had my credit union. I had my credit union since I was a kid, since I was like 5 years old. But Bank of America was super convenient because they were pretty much everywhere. So I didn't have to worry about taking out so much cash at one time. And I'm talking about like back in like 1999, like way back. So I didn't have to worry about taking about a lot of cash out at one time, because like if I need more, no big deal. There's a Bank of America somewhere nearby and I won't get charged a fee to get my own money. So question for you guys, if the banks or the credit card processors or the businesses or a conjunction of all three are charging you to get your money out, are you still going to utilize those services? Are you going to make changes in how you, where you choose to shop, how you choose to shop, and how you choose to withdraw your own money? Are you going to make changes in that? Or are you just going to let these banks do this and potentially charge you more just to hold an account with them? Are you in a position to be able to put more money in the bank and leave it there for them to keep and hang on and use at their discretion so that they don't charge you an outrageous monthly maintenance fee? Or are you just going to pay the monthly maintenance fee? I'm just kind of curious of what you guys think. Honestly, there's no right or wrong answer, but if you would just drop it down in the comments, just kind of curious. And yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. By the way, the RTS Tactical Rapid Deploy IFAK kit is still up for grabs. It'll be raffled off after the end of this month. So after October 1st, the winner will get an email. So if you want to sign up for your chance to win, there's a link in the description. Click it, put your name, put your email address, and put your YouTube name so I know who you are. Not tracking you down or anything like that, but just so I know who watching the channel, so like I can like call you out when it's done and say, hey, such and such won. And I'm looking forward to actually doing the next one, because this is the 50,000 subscriber giveaway. And thank you guys so much for allowing this channel to grow and get to the point at which I'm able to do this. I really do appreciate it. Really do. So that's still going. So check it out. Link in the description. And also, if you want to join the group for the YouTube channel and side hustle info, that's down there too, as well as my email address if you just want to hit me up for whatever, any questions, comments, or anything you want to share, because you guys do continue to send me this boots on the ground intel, this insider intel. It's very valuable that I like to share with the community, with the family, to keep everybody informed and up to date about what's going on. And yeah, so check it out. But yeah, you guys just let me know what you think. Drop a comment. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye.